Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Project Race GP career mode where we're in McLaren ready for the Austrian Grand Prix. We're going to get straight into it with the Austrian Grand Prix. This is obviously qualifying. We mess up the entrance to the start of the lap, which means that our first sector, could be a little bit worse than otherwise would be. We might have lost out on half a tenth to a tenth because of that. We get a good run through the first corner, a bit too much curb on exit as I would have liked. But nevertheless, we're running a little high downforce as well. So our first sectors are going to be considerably slower than everyone else's, but hopefully our second and third sectors will be very competitive towards our teammate and the Alpines, which is ultimately who we are fighting at the moment. The development of the car hasn't been as good as I've been hoping it would be. I was kind of hoping to be competing for wins right now if we want any hope in battling for the championship, which is what I intended to do with the switch from the My Team to the normal career mode. But it doesn't look like we're doing that at the moment. But back to qualifying, the lap has gone pretty decently, a very safe run to get us out of Q1 and into Q2. We're going to jump straight into Q2's lap now. Kind of messing up this part as well as we go really wide. Luckily we don't get any warnings, and then we do bottle the last corner again, probably another half attempt to attempt just like last time. This lap got us into P9 at the end of it, however we did drop back at the end of the lap, which was very annoying, so we did end up finishing P11, which is where we'll start the sprint from. I was trying to use a new line that I saw going into turn 3 at the top of the hill, but it hasn't really worked as we locked up a little bit, which caused us to throw up our entrance. We have Vettel in front of us. We're going to get a neat little slipstream off of Vettel. I'm not too sure if that gained us or lost us time, considering we had to go a further distance around the track, but nevertheless we've done it now. There's not much we can do about it. We are 0.06 tenths up on Schumacher. We get a good final few corners, a good exit. I'm not sure how we didn't invalidate it there, but I will not complain. We're gonna go straight to the sprint now. 12 laps, medium tyres, just like everyone else. It's lights out finally. They were on for ages, and it's a very well spinny start as we try and get out of first gear. We put the overtake on way too early as well in fourth, but we managed to stick around the outside of everyone else and gain a position on Gasly. Now behind the Alpines, who is what we've been battling this entire career mode realistically, and sometimes the Alfa Romeos have been extremely fast as well. But you can see Gasly coming up our inside, but we sent it down Alonso anyway, and he stays down our inside, and he goes on Ocon, and we've managed to get squeezed in between the three. That was like almost like an hour of a career mode overtake where we all basically hit 0 miles an hour going through the corner. But we managed to make it past both of the Alpine and Gasly. He's now around our outside as well, but we managed to keep him behind with a massive lap of oversteer. That's not going to help us keep up with Ocon, as he's very quick here, and like just as I said before, we're running way more downforce than everyone else, so we should be decent through these corners here. But throughout the rest of the track we're going to be severely down on pace. That's 2 warnings now as well, one more, and that means we have a penalty, and in a sprint race that is exactly what you don't need. So hopefully we can avoid that, as George Russell sets the fastest lap from the lead, leading both Red Bulls. The other Mercedes is a bit far back, as well as Sainz. We can see our teammate just behind Leclerc and Ocon just ahead of us. Alonso has been absolutely shafted on this start, as he's dropped back to P11, which is our starting position. And we're trying to keep up with Ocon as much as we can, but we just don't seem to have the pace. Our setup is not very good for this track, and to be honest, this is one of the ones I don't practice as much as every other track. So we're going to be down on pace here anyway to get another snap of oversteer. But I am trying my best. I'm trying to maximise the lines through all of these corners, and I just can't seem to find the pace to keep up with the Alpines. So one of two or both things is either our car is really slow or we're really bad. It could be a mixture of both. I think I even lowered the AI for this to 102, and we still can't manage to keep up, as Mick Schumacher is even looking a bit fast here as he's broken away from Alonso as well and is only 8 tenths behind us. Now we're going to advance to the next straightaway as Magnussen has managed to catch up by a stupendous amount. In one corner we had a terrible exit. We're in 4th gear, he's right behind us, almost pushing us through. We completely lose the rear end and we hit the wall, and that's our entire front wing gone. VSC is deployed as we almost get stuck on the grass, and everyone's going past except for Gasly and Stroll because they had an incident lap 1, both causing damage. Esteban Ocon is out of the session now as well. He must have just had a breakdown or something, and that is what caused the virtual safety car to be deployed. We're going to come through and we have to box. There's no point in staying up with a missing front wing, and the softs won't make it to the end, unfortunately, which means we're using both sets of our only medium, which means if we want to use the mediums in the race, we're going to be on used medium. So we're going to have to try and make our strategy work around that, as we've lowered our front downforce to 12 now, just to try and help us in a straight line compared to the AI. Unfortunately, we can't change our rear downforce, which is what I would change if I could change it, as I do prefer a more bitey front end and a looser rear end compared to a worse turn-in and a grippier rear end. Now that the VRC's ended, as soon as we've coming out the pits, we've lost a lot of time to the cars ahead, and now the only car ahead, behind us, sorry, is Stroll. So we've gone from 11th to 9th, now back to 19th. Get a huge amount of wheel spin out of all of these corners. Our tyres are absolutely freezing cold. Mediums I thought were going to be really good to heat up here, but maybe it was going to be worth taking the gamble to softs and making them try and last. We're getting wheel spin out of all of these corners except for that one. I feel like our tyres, our rears especially, are warming up a little bit, but Stroll is even catching up to us at a rate of knots. I don't understand how he's doing that. He's putting a bunch of pressure on. We take too much cover and we've spun it round, and Stroll almost going into the side of us. We're going to try and get back on track, but we make even more wheel spin. And that we're trying to get back on the track, but we're on the grass now and we can't move. We're stuck. The gravel has trapped us just as it should be doing, and that is us out of the sprint race. So we're going to jump straight to the race now with all 5 red lights on, and they're out almost immediately, which is really good. You can see we're on the softs compared to the mediums of everyone else, and the hards up there as well. So we get a much better start than everyone else. We split Gasly and Stroll, we go on the side of both of them and Albon as we get a massive tap from the right from Stroll. But we managed to make it through everyone, and that is 20th to 15th in one corner, so it's not a bad corner. And we're right behind Vettel as well, as Stroll seems very quick and straight on as well, but there's no way he's going to brake later unless we go all the way around the outside for both Vettel and Joe, as they get massively held up by their teammates and Sonoda. And now we're on the side of Bottas as well. And this is all in lap 1. We're up to 13th place in one lap. Make that 12th as we go all the way around the outside of Bottas. The reason I'm using the soft is I'm planning to do a soft hard in this race compared to a medium hard, because we don't have any new sets of mediums left, as Bottas gives us a nudge as he looks to our inside. But there was absolutely no way he's going to make that move on us while we're on the softs and he's on the mediums. We get a great exit, although we do get a warning. We're going to use our overtake, but we decide better of it not to go on the move for Sonoda, considering we lose so much time. We get another warning. So both the sprint and the race, we get 2 warnings in one lap. We're almost pushing the AlphaTauri of Sonoda through the corner, but he's using his overtake to try and get past Schumacher. So we're going to sit back because he's been going side by side, so we're going to back off massively, try and get an undercut, which is exactly what we do. We get past Schumacher with ease as he has a terrible exit, and using the overtake, we're right alongside Sonoda. We deactivate it, but his car is so fast in a straight line compared to ours, he gives us a little nudge, but we send it right back up his inside, which also allows us to cover off from Schumacher, and we get past the AlphaTauri of Sonoda as well. And now we're trying to catch up to Magnussen in the Haas, who is having a great race. The Haas is definitely not this fast on the performance chart. It's one of the lower ones for sure, as Sonoda brakes extremely late. I thought he was going to run into our rear end for a second there and destroy our gearbox, but it looks like we've got away unscathed. And now we're just going to try and chase down the Guys ahead, unfortunately though, the tyre temperatures of us pushing are extremely high right now. I think internals at this point we're about 100 degrees, and we're running really high tyre pressures as well, just to try and get the maximum out of these tyres. I wanted to start on the softs, as I said before, because no new mediums, but also because we were starting so far back in the grid, I wanted to try and get as many overtakes done as possible, get an early pit stop, and then overtake everyone else in their pit stop and just park the bus. But it looks like we're not going to be able to catch up to 9th, which is really frustrating, so we might have to make a lot of our pace come through when we go onto the hards in a matter of a few laps. We do have a very good braking zone though, but a massive gap of oversteer doesn't allow us to gain time from Magnussen ahead, and in fact it makes us lose time to Sonoda behind, who's still keeping with us. Those mediums in these weather conditions at the track seem extremely good at managing tyre temperatures, whereas the softs never really do, to be fair. I was kind of banking on them being fine this race and just trying to luck it out, but it doesn't seem like we're able to catch up to Magnussen ahead as he's gained another 3 tenths through that sequence, and even though we're running higher downforce, we just don't seem to have the pace. 6th gear through here is always a safe bet. We lose it completely on the rear, and we are into the wall, and that is our tyres off, underfloor damage, front wing damage, and that is us out, no question about it.
Outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It was full of action and chaos, but I'll see you all in the next one, which is the French Grand Prix. See you later.